for letting me present. I was just telling Peggy this is actually been really beneficial for me already. I've got some interest on LinkedIn, and then I just had a meeting with a guy at Lawrence Tech, and they're interested in me doing an entire course for them.
Oh, hi. That's
So
great.
this was great for me to get started, so I appreciate it. I'm going to keep things pretty high level, and then I want to show you kind of more some examples, because I think those will be more fun instead of getting into some of the technicals. But we're going to sort of do a little bit of an overview of what I've been discovering over the last few months while I've been working on this. And then you'll see kind of some of the hands-on stuff. What's exciting for me about this is that non-technical people can use this. Meaning you don't need to know coding. Sometimes I can help, but I don't do coding. I mean, I sort of understand it, but I pretty much avoid it as much as possible, because to me I don't need it. And so you're gonna see some stuff that I build, and like other people can build that. If you kind of have a general sense of computers even, you can actually do a lot of these things. So we're going to talk about, and again, this is going to be high level. I'm going to move fairly quickly, so I'm not going to get too in the weeds, but AI and its potential for business, improving marketing strategies, which I think this is actually something, and I'm glad that you are recording, thank you, because this is something that can be really useful for a lot of people here. And not everyone's life is going to completely change, and all of a sudden, but there's going to be like, now, I have access to new information before that I didn't, or now I have the ability to do this before that we couldn't afford, because to have someone do this is expensive, and we're going to talk about that too. Data analysis, decision making is an opportunity. Enhancing customer experience is something, customer/worker experience, really important. Product development and ethical considerations and future outlook, which there's definitely a very moving target on all of that. There's a number of layers to that, and it will be interesting to see that discussion. That to me is probably one of the most interesting. The technology is already pretty incredible, but watching the development of this is going to be, the ethical development is going to be something really interesting to watch. So what is AI? It's a technology that enables machines to mimic human intelligence, including learning, reasoning, content creation, and problem solving. So when people think of AI, like now it's a very broad term, okay? And it encompasses, and what's fascinating is that the ability to use machine learning can be applied to many, many, many different things. And so the way it works is that machines are basically trained by user experience or data, what something good is, what we like, and then it's able to kind of copy that. It's also now able to learn from this, okay, well now we can find different solutions. Like, most people probably remember back in the 90s or 2000s when the first, IBM supercomputer beat a chess player, because it basically was able to study all the chess moves and figure out the best. It's the same concept, except now it's being able to figure out things like how to get this robot to move around in a new environment, in something that has a scene, so it's able to actually do learning. Okay. And what we see here is we've got, there's a number of big AI platforms, okay? There's Copilot is the Microsoft. Come over here. What you're seeing is there's a lot of competing platforms now for AI. And what's happening is that a lot of companies are building their products based off of these platforms. Think about it like this, well, first of all, so the main ones are, this is ChatGPT. That's kind of the biggest, most popular one that most people have used. Google came out with Gemini. It was called Bard. They recently renamed to Gemini. Microsoft has one called Copilot. And then we have some other AI applications like Loudly is a music creation application. We're going to look at that. DALL-E is kind of part of ChatGPT. This is where you can do the text to prompt. So create an image of a workspace for 2020 modern day professionals in Detroit, and it will do that. Now create one with, you can do what's called prompting to have it create images that you want. These can be very useful. They're still not perfect yet, but we'll talk about that. Runway is really interesting. This is a text to video. Create a video of a butterfly landing on a tulip. Here you go, right? So this technology is really coming around. This one is really, I have a special example of this. I think you guys, most of you here will find amusing. This is what we see now is there's a lot of ability to create, AI video generation based on a photo. Take a video of someone, you can then take that image and then create something with it. Okay, I got something kind of fun for that. Yeah, but these are basically the main ones right now. ChatGPT, Microsoft's Copilot, and Gemini. Interestingly, Apple's not yet entered the game, although that's kind of on par with them. They usually sort of wait, see how things go. Like for instance, it's interesting, the Vision Pro just came out, their glasses, and people are blown away like, oh my God, I can see a computer screen, I can do this. And you guys have known me a long time. I mean, I was literally doing that here 5 years ago. But now Apple's doing it, so it's revolutionary and it changes everything, and that's a whole topic in itself. But it's amusing, but they, I'm sure, will have their own eventually. But the way that these work is that a lot of these applications, what they do is they send what are called API calls, which is they connect to these and then go back to their platform to do the work. Like for instance, some of the design platforms use these technologies as sort of like the underlying base for them to work. They use the brains inside of this to then work on their own websites or their own products. Okay, think of it as kind of like your app store, right? Those are running on Apple iOS. They're running on Android. They're built on that. They need Android to work. It's a similar concept to what's going on with these AI platforms, except it's a little bit more dependent, but basically a lot of the AI platforms you'll see are actually using one of these to be their brains to do the work. Like, for instance, Matt's phone that he's recording on is using his phone, like there's a camera app using the technology in the smartphone to record. And then another thing that can share that recording, etc. But it's like the phone is the key to that piece. That's kind of what's going on here. So when you're following this, these are sort of the major. ChatGPT, Copilot, and Gemini right now are kind of there's some other ones, but these are kind of the big ones. So this is kind of what we're going to watch, but let's get into this a little bit. So we talk about this, AI friend or foe. Like I said, there is a lot of concern about this because there will be job losses, right? There will be humans' reliance on computers. You can scale this out. I'm working on a paper. It's called AI, AR, cryptocurrency, and why death as we know it will soon become obsolete, right? Which is a whole nother topic. But basically there's a lot going on here. But I like to focus right now on the friend concept, right? The internet put a lot of people out of work too, but it also created an incredible amount of jobs. It also created the ability to do new things that we've never been able to do before, right? Which is exciting, right? And again, instead of doom and gloom and the end of humanity and all that, okay, I'm not dismissing that. I'm just saying don't focus on that, because right now we can do incredible things. And there's a lot of fun things we can do, but a lot of things we can do that can actually help grow our business. So, for example, you guys recognize this guy right here, right?
Oh no.
Glad that you were all able to join us. There are a lot of interesting AI tools for us to use.
No.
Is that Matt?
Let's watch this again.
Let's go.
Hello, everyone. I'm very glad that you were all able to join us. There are a lot of interesting AI tools for us to use.
Wow.
That took me about 30 seconds to do that. Okay, I found a picture of Matt, I think from your LinkedIn, I think. And then there's a platform we're gonna look at here in a little bit. You type in what you want him to say, and you can see him speak it. Now I could even, if I wanted, you can do things where I can upload my own voice. You can train the system to learn, like if I upload 30 seconds of me speaking, it picks up on my mannerisms, it picks up my tone and the way I speak. I mean, obviously more than that is better, but then it can I could have used my own voice, or I could have used Matt's voice if I would have had it. And so what's fascinating is you're even seeing some of the YouTube content creators are doing things like, I'm gonna speed up here for a minute, so bear with me. What they're doing is they're using some of the chat bots to, you type in, and we'll do an example of this in a minute, come up with a 4-minute long speech, or what would be a 5-page explanation of AI for small business. And then a chatbot would create in a matter of seconds, 5 pages worth of text. They'll then take an image of themselves with their own voice trained to it, upload the text that they just had created, and then have the video created of them speaking this, whatever it is they just created, right? So it's pretty fascinating how quickly this is all moving, and it's getting to the point where it's not quite perfect yet, but it's getting real close to where if you do this properly, some of these can actually totally duplicate people. So what does that mean for a lot of people? I mean, what is it going to do in the movie industry and all the other things? Like, there's a lot of things where, like, it's going to be really interesting to watch all this. Another thing is over here is, this just came out today, a few hours ago. This guy from Gemini, which is getting Google, right? You'd think Google, pretty reputable, reliable. This isn't some, hack company. We're aware that Gemini is offering inaccuracies in some historical image generations, depictions, blah, 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 and it goes again, there's issues with, we take representation and bias seriously because apparently it's not taking all that into account properly. So this is sort of something that, this is now part of our reality of what's going on in the world. Like, it's fascinating, in the election cycle, I can no longer believe anything I see or hear. Right? You can't. Like I said, like that, this is just a hack job, but still it looked pretty good. Right? I could have spent time on it really good. But even now, when we're relying on this AI technology, it's something you need to still check. Okay? So you have to be really careful about that. However, it's pretty good. I look at it as a great start. Okay? You can get it, it gives you ideas, recommendations, take it, and then if you're actually an expert, okay, this is good, this maybe not, it gives you really good tools to work with. Okay, but you have to be careful because there's still a lot of issues, it's not perfect at all. And sometimes it's wrong.
So is there any copyright on Matt 2.0 now?
No.
We're not
It's
dealing
the
with any
Wild West
copyright.
with all that. Yeah, and as a matter of fact, there's an interesting law case of the New York Times suing ChatGPT because they used a lot of the New York, basically what's going on is you can now, this is fascinating. I could give you the link to a website and you could download, assuming you have enough storage space, the entire internet. You could download every single web page, every PDF, you could download the entire internet. Okay? Which, for normal people or normal computers, I have a pretty good computer. But I couldn't, it couldn't really do much of that. But some of these supercomputers, what they're doing is they're taking that vast amount of data and using it to put it in the system that can train the system. It can start to read, it can read things and figure out answers, okay? We'll do an example here in a minute. So the point is that the New York Times, they're suing because they're like, well, you guys used all of our copyrighted content to train your system that you're now charging people to use. What's the legality of that? We don't really know, right? That'll be interesting to watch. And again, it's not just the New York Times, it's really anybody else, right? And that's what's fascinating about a lot of these is they do what's called train on user data. So when I use this, unless I specifically opt out and tell it not to, it's using my interactions to help build the model, the big brain, the Borg, right? And some of these, how are we doing on time? Some of these custom GPTs, have a tremendous amount of potential, but people are cautious because, well, I don't want to have my proprietary company info put it in a system that can then be accessed by somebody else. Okay, so you have to kind of be careful when you start working with these things for that reason. So, benefits for small business, though, why should we care? Well, because there are benefits. Efficiency and automation are really some of like the biggest ones. Streamline. So efficiency of for the engineering firm that I work with, they'll get massive amounts of data from the machines from the production lines. That somebody's got to go and then filter through and create tables and charts and do things and figure out where opportunities are and find out prediction levels or whatever. It can take a couple days, or it could take about 2 minutes, right? So now it's like a lot of the stuff that is a real value-added job that people are doing, it's very time-consuming. Now we can do in a matter of minutes, if not seconds. So there's a tremendous amount of potential for that. Another thing too is routine tasks. Creating things as simple as someone signs up, automatically it sends them, this, welcome, do this, it monitors what they're doing. If they interact, it'll send them this. If they don't, it'll send them this. It's fairly low level AI. I mean, not all AI is building a new spaceship, right? Some of it's very simple, but what it's doing is it's looking for people are using this to find non-value add work and having it do that. Because a lot of places, we're seeing it now, we're seeing that people are, companies aren't hiring, right? It's harder to find a job now, again. Like, companies are starting to downsize, especially the tech firms or whatever. And so, in the manufacturing, they've done that, they've been doing that for years. And so that's a lot of what we do with other things. This is now becoming a part of it, is they've basically cut their staffs to the bare bones minimum that they need. The bare bones. And so now you have to figure out ways to make those people, you're not going to hire more efficient, right? So what can we do that can make the workers now have access to more information, be upskilled, or just not waste time doing things that are, for instance, one of the applications I built was at an ice cream facility where they have these little tags. Every time there's a bucket of waste, they have to take this bucket and walk it basically over there to the far corner, drop it off, they leave the tag. Someone at the end of the night has to take the tag, read it, try to wipe the ice cream off of it if there is any, figure it out, type it into a spreadsheet. Just mind-numbing work, but it takes a long time. And management doesn't know the answer to what's on this tag until that person types it in, which can be several hours. So the machine could be telling you, we've got a problem, but people don't know this for 6-7 hours until somebody does it. Well, that's a huge amount of waste. right? So we're looking at efficiency gains, right? Again, automation, making people more efficient. That's, to me, what's exciting is people here, we're solopreneurs, most of us. You know, some of us have teams, small teams, but I don't see a lot of people in Green Garage with excess staff, right? But I do see a lot of people in Green Garage who are trying to grow their business or grow their network or whatever. So how can we use some of these new tools where, again, normal people who don't know coding can use some of this stuff to actually do their job? Data insights. I mean, I just finished a course. It's interesting. It was a 16-week-long course I took. It was online. It was through MIT, which sounds impressive. And it was interesting because I didn't really think that it was basically on data science, much more so than building with AI. Like, I thought it was more a course on building with AI tools, some data science. It was much more learning data science, neural networks, just the total weeds of how the back end of all this stuff works, which frankly I don't really care about. It's good for me to know, but I didn't think I was committing to that. I thought I was committing to building stuff, which is fun to me. But the point is that you don't need to know that to be able to get data insights, right? And I'm going to show you some examples here of that. You know, like I can upload a spreadsheet and say, you know, find downtime numbers. What's causing this? Like, again, within seconds, right? So it's fascinating for people. You now are starting to have superpowers, right? And that's the way I look at it. It's like, if you want to do something now, the tools are there to do it. Customer experiences, those are really important. You know, again, there's lots you can do with that. So what kind of things can we do? Chatbots, I'm going to show you an example of that. Customer service, again, 24/7 engagement. I've actually built a AI support platform for manufacturing, and it's great because it solves the problem of third shift. It's 2:29 in the morning, and line 38 has a problem with the filter on the whatever. And what happens now? Well, this guy, again, remember, we're working in facilities where your staff is bare bones. They might not have the maintenance staff that even knows how to fix that. That guy might come in the morning, right? Or there's a lot of turnover. So this guy's only worked here for 3 months. I don't know everything yet. It takes a long time to learn some of this stuff, right? So what can I do? Well, what do now? The line stops. And you know when it starts? When the guy gets there in the morning. And what time is that? That's 5 hours from now, right? It could be something simple, but he doesn't know how to fix it. She doesn't know how to fix it, right? So what if we create a system where you can actually have an AI agent that might be able to help you out? Not all the time, but it might, right? Is that putting someone out of a job? No, not really, because they can't afford to have 24/7 phone support from the OEM. What does it do? It helps get that line starting again. Marketing, tons of opportunity for marketing. Financial management, design content, and then probably my favorite and the one I would most recommend to everyone watching, meeting transcriptions. Okay, like we live in a Zoom Teams world now, right? How many of you guys have been on in the last week a Zoom call that lasted at least a half hour, right? And it's like, my boss sometimes has one of our employees on the call when he's working with some of like our important customers, simply to take notes, right? Well, what if you didn't need that? What if you could get that and actually probably even better notes? And this way I can focus on the call and not, like action items. I said I was gonna do this, Peggy said she was gonna do this. At the end of the call, wait, was I gonna do that or was Peggy? Wait, which one are you doing? I don't remember.
I think you're doing it.
Oh,
You're doing both of them.
well, Tom's the one who brought it up. I don't remember, he's the one supposed to, so.
I'm not doing this.
No, he's not. So I'm going to show you guys an example of that, which I love, and there's actually a free one that you can use, and I would really highly recommend it if you do a lot of Zoom, Teams calls, whatever. Probably my favorite of all the AI tools is this one right here, and it's very easy to set up. As you set it up, and then guess what? At the end of the call, here you go. Here's the summary. Here's all the things you said. Here's the action points. Here's the due dates. Like, it's incredible.
So is it saying word for word, or is it saying what it imagines it might have been?
Let's skip ahead.
Okay. The best case scenario on the discussion, right? That's right.
So here's an example. I don't know if you guys can read. Let me see if I can zoom this in. All right, this will help. Okay, so I just had this call. This is with my call with, I think this was Lawrence Tech. And here is, here's the actual summary of the call, every word. Okay? You don't worry about reading. I know you can't read that up there, but you get the point. Here is the summary, and let's look at. So we've got, I'll just read this out. Meeting purpose, key takeaways, topics, next steps. As a matter of fact, what's interesting is I can click on this and it brings it up in the video of me saying it. I mean, that's to me incredible. You know, or like, you know, or like, let's go under their questions. Like, so if someone wants to.
If someone wants to go deeper, what's next?
I mean, this is incredible to me. You know, and again, this is free, right? So like, this is a tool that like is super valuable, right? And especially if you want to incorporate it in like you can do integrations and some things next level, which take a little bit of setting up where like the action items, if I say, okay, March 14th, I will have this due for you, my calendar all of a sudden now shows March 14th. I have on my calendar so I don't forget, right? So some really super valuable tools with that. Let's go back to this. And so how do people get started with this? Because I want to kind of get more examples. So again, this isn't something like AI has incredible amounts of use, but it's an incredibly vast amount of an ecosystem. So how do you as a business use AI, right? It's not like, hey, I want to use AI. Okay, well, here's your answer. It takes us a process. Identify business needs, right? Talk to people or ask yourself what areas might benefit the most from automations and insights, right? So ask yourself, what are some areas that would make sense for this, right? Choose the right tools. Now, there's a lot of tools available, and that means you might have to try more than one or two out, okay? You might have to ask someone like me, hey, I'm looking for a suggestion on how would I do this? What would be a good tool for this? Do internet searches, whatever. I mean, like, there's options, okay? That match your business size and industry. Your business size is really important. A lot of these tools, like for instance, that video creating tool that I did with Matt, I mean, it's like $15 a month. Okay, so not a huge cost. Some of them are enterprise level, depending on what you're doing, much more expensive. The vast majority of these tools are $20 a month or less. Like the GPTs, the ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini are $20 a month. So, you might have an AI budget, right? Let's say you subscribe to 5 and now you're spending $70 a month. Okay. Well, how much does it cost to hire somebody per hour? you know. And again, like if someone can do it, great. Like I love giving people a chance to support me. Sometimes they can be more helpful than AI, but I can't afford to pay somebody $5,000 a month to do this for me or whatever. Well, I can do it myself now for $15. You know what I mean? And so it gives, again, the solopreneurs, like we're the sweet spot of where this really is. This isn't going to be costing most of us jobs. This is going to help us actually build our businesses, grow our brand, have more free time, which is like, to me, the biggest goal. I don't want to work more. I want to work less, right? Life's too short to spend your whole life working. The other thing is invest in training. Make sure you have the knowledge to use the tools effectively, okay? Like I said, anyone who's comfortable using Microsoft Office products, is comfortable on the internet, knows how to download an app, can probably use most of these. That being said, to use them well still takes some time to learn. There's learning. The great news is there's actually a lot of really good courses that I pay for. Some of them again are like 24. Like one I pay for is $24.99 a month, so I can access anything in their catalog, right? So I'm investing $25 a month in vastly improving my knowledge of tools that can vastly improve my work, right? A lot of times people are super reluctant to spend any money on things, you know, like apps. Getting someone to buy an app is almost impossible. You know, to spend even 99 cents for an app is just like people don't want to spend the money. But is it worth investing in yourself? Are you serious or not? Is $25, can you afford that? What's that, 3 drinks at the bar? You know what I mean? Like, think about it. Like $15 for something you can use for a whole month. I don't want to, that's it. Bro, you just spent $40 on 2 beers and a cheeseburger. You know what I mean? Like, think about it, you know, like it's worth spending the time, and, you know, I'd be happy to give you guys some suggestions for sites that I use. I like this quote.
What are some of the sites? Just out of curiosity.
Sure, skillleap.ai is a really good one. Skillleap, L-E-A-P, .ai. As a matter of fact, I'll pull that up, and they've got a fantastic course. It's like an hour and a half long on AI tools for Canva. So for design purposes, like I can create some incredible like design things now. Like I'm not a, you know, I've never really been very good at that. I'm okay, but like, you know, like that, a lot of these, again, it's $20 something a month, but you get their whole catalog. There's a lot of even good ones just even on YouTube, but SkillLeap is one that I subscribe to. Here's my motivational pitch. The way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing, right? So like if you're interested, like, you know, don't feel as though you can't do this. You can do it. I'm telling you, if you can put a business together, if you can, you know, all the things required to be in this building, I guarantee you can find something here you can do. Accessible, beneficial business of all sizes, tools and solutions to improve. Like, if any of these appeal to you, you should spend time with this. Improving efficiency, gaining insights, or enhancing customer interactions. If those sound like something that would benefit your company, then you should look into it. Okay. So, does anybody have any questions with us? I'm going to show you guys some examples. Yes.
Where does AI get its information from?
Great question. And that was kind of what I was talking about earlier, which is it both scans the entirety of the internet, as well as when you use it, or I use it, it learns from that. So that's kind of the fascinating part now, is like, it's actually learning based on your interactions, how well it's doing.
But can someone flood information, someone, let's say from a rogue nation, flood the internet with a bunch of stuff that is going to get picked up, and then we're going to be using that as as stuff on AI?
That's a great question. Has it been weaponized in that manner yet?
See,
I can't say so, but when I think back to that post, tweet, X, whatever, of the guy from Google today saying our information's wrong. Why was it wrong? We're not really sure. So could it be eventually, and that's again part of the concern of the ethical considerations. Another thing along this topic, very important, is it's being trained on how people are using it. And so ethically or socially, is it getting a bias now? Because who are the people who are using this right now? What demographics are using this? So it's learning from that, right? And not intentionally creating a bias, but it's creating a bias based on use case and who's using it, right? And if certain people from certain regions of the world are the ones who are building and developing this, then when other places kind of catch up or whatever, well, there's going to be an inherent bias in terms of some of the answers, just like that historical issue that they had on Google, right? So that's something that's really important. It's going to be interesting to watch, and there's going to be a number of road bumps along the way. And I'm not, I'm not going to come up here and tell you this is, going to be a smooth sailing for everyone. It's not, and there's going to be a lot of problems. And a lot of, like, socially, economically, I mean, eventually, like, why can't I use a AI CEO for a company? Probably could do a better job than a person, right? Why wouldn't you? So at that point, I can replace my CEO with AI, whose job is safe? So it's gonna be fascinating to watch, but yeah, so that's like, the more people are, like, the Gemini, the Google one is free because they tell you, we're using your data to build this model. So you're helping build our model. We'll let you use it, but all your interactions are helping to build this, which is kind of what Google does anyway. If you use Gmail, they're reading all your mail and stuff like that anyway. So it's a similar concept, so you have to be careful of that. So let me show you an example of something. We got a few minutes, okay. Let's look at, so like this is how easy this was, okay. I uploaded a photo and then I said, how are you today? This is me speaking
Here we go.
at the presentation. I hope you like my shirt.
You do miss that shirt.
I do, right?
Nice shirt.
And so, I can just, okay, so,
Hello everyone, how are you today?
oh, I don't like that
Sounds
voice.
just like me.
Not quite, yeah. Let's try this one.
Is there a Matthew in there?
Hello everyone, how are you today?
Still no, but, we could.
Hello everyone, how are you today?
So anyway, I'd find what I want and then I hit generate video and, 10 seconds later, there's my video, right? So, again, how many of you guys think you could upload a picture and then type what you want to say and then pick the voice and then accent that you want? That's pretty easy, right? So another one is,
But Tony, can I ask real quick? So like, that's not a convincing. Like
that's not convincing. This one isn't really yet.
So like, how close are we? Or like, are there other tools?
There are definitely other tools. We can talk about it. I like this one because it's really easy.
Yeah.
But if you want, I can show you the one where the upload and train your voice one. And some of the really pro tools are good.
Yeah.
Consumer levels for $15 a month, they're going to give you something like that. But some of the pro tools are surprisingly good. Again, more expensive. So this is what I was mentioning with Skill Leap, which is, this is the tutorial page. And again, these are little, 2 minute, 3 minutes on how to do all these different things. I don't know if you can see that, but super easy to follow. And like, you know, so again, this is maybe an hour, and after this, you could create some incredible things on Canva, right? I like that one a lot. Let's look at this here real quick. So ChatGPT, right? So there's a little behind the curtain, right? This is what I'm talking about though. Okay, I'm doing this presentation for you guys. Write a one-page PowerPoint slide on an introduction to AI tools for small business. Okay, short definition, and then look at this, image suggestions, and AI, you know, whatever. Okay, benefits for small businesses. Here's some points. Image suggestions, clock, magnifying glass, customer experience. Does this remind you guys of anything? Pretty good, huh? I mean, again, I don't have to use it, but I did just for this exact purpose of, you know, what is this? The checklist in roadmap is, I think, on here somewhere, right? Yeah, here we go. A checklist or roadmap design.
You know, all I can think of is like this image of Matt, or Matt-ish, let's say, up there, deciding to start a new, you know, Green Garage, or, you know, GGAI, you know, this is our new, and you take a whole business somewhere else, and then it seems like we're in lawsuit material here. I don't know, it's so close to
Well,
what
it's,
it would be that.
you can,
But they're using his image,
totally,
you know.
and more so than that, people are taking musicians taking songs like Drake or Grimes or whatever, and like training a system write new Drake songs. Here you go, sounds just like him, kind of his beats. So Kanye could drop an album, the next day there's 50 new Kanye albums, all different. Write a Kanye West song about driving down Woodward Avenue. Okay, like, let's
do that.
Let's do that. And Peggy is
Oh, that would be good.
write lyrics to a Kanye West song about driving. What kind of car, Peggy?
Driving
A GTO.
a GTO.
A GTO down Woodward Avenue. Now here's actually being serious for a minute. This is what we're calling. This is what we're doing. Is called prompting, right? So if I type this in, that will give me and one thing. But the important thing is that what I want to show you next is like it's important to be more specific, right? So have a and spelling errors don't really matter. A mid-80s vibe with a positive outlook on the state of the city.
It'd be nice if we could add a dog in there.
Well, it's funny, okay.
And a shotgun.
Woodward Dreams.
Cruising down Woodward, feeling the breeze in my GTO. I'm moving with ease. Detroit skyline, a sight to behold, a city of dreams where stories unfold. Chorus.
Nice.
Woodward dreams under neon lights. Detroit's heart beats strong tonight. In my GTO, just letting go. Woodward's dreams where we all glow.
I mean, it's not terrible, right? It's really not, you know.
It's probably better than I would write.
So, you know, here's verse 3, and then, okay, this song.
How about some Dolly Parton?
Now design an image for the album cover of that song.
Yeah.
Yep. This will be interesting. So this is what, like, it's called DALL-E, which is the image creation tool on ChatGPT. This is on ChatGPT 4. which if people wanted to get into the weeds, I could explain the difference and what the paid model does, etc. But that's, I think, for another day.
There it is.
That's pretty dope, right? What's fascinating about this is that I actually like this a lot.
Oh, he's got a new career.
That's my point, right? That's my point. And what's fascinating about this, you can see the Renson in the
I
back.
know, yeah. Well,
So-
Renaissance is one of the verses, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they
So,
talk about
okay.
Renaissance. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I can't quite see what the orange one is.
Direct all.
Looks like I went on the wrong side.
It looks like
Wayne State.
What's your phone number, Penny?
yeah.
What's actually really interesting about this, though, is that most of the time, this is fascinating because most of the time, the text in these images is not right. It's actually, here's an example. Like you'll see
Like the eyes.
the words will be misspelled.
Yeah, well, in Detroit.
Detroit is not.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. There you go. Right. So you'll see stuff like that, and that's even
Oh, there is
close.
an eye there.
And bowl is
Sideways.
WOL. It just-
Yeah. So right. That's what I mean. Is that supposed to be bowl or is that world or I don't know what? Yeah. So the text images is still not really very good. The text images, but the design is, that's kind of cool.
That's very 80s.
Yeah, which is what I asked. So let me show you guys something that I'm building here. And so here's an example of a good AI use case, okay? Is exactly kind of what I was just telling you guys about of the support platform, okay? So imagine you're working in a manufacturing facility, or let's say you work remotely out in the field, right? And so I gotta go and check things away from the office, all right? So what you could do is you would select whatever location you're at. This could be lines, it could be kiosk, it could be this type of thing, whatever. And then it gives you this phone number, right? Which of course we set up. And then listen to this.
Hello, this is the Pinney Group support.
Yeah, hi. I'm stuck on line 38 and I'm having a problem changing the air filter. What do I need to do?
Wait, what did you say? You're stuck on line 38 and you're having trouble changing the air filter. I can definitely help you with that. Let's go through the steps together. Are you ready to proceed?
Yes, go ahead.
Great. Here are the steps to change the air filter on line 38. Step 1, locate the air filter housing. It is usually a rectangular or cylindrical box attached to the air intake. Step 2, open the housing by removing the clips and screws.
etc., right? So,
It's Nigel.
yeah, I just had Nigel here walk me through all the things I need to do. And then what we can do here is like this way I can, with this system, I can click on the call instructions. Here's the instructions he just told me, right? Because hearing it is nice, but there's 7 steps here. I'm not gonna remember all 7, right? So now here's the message here. And then what else I can do is if I go to management,
But you just didn't waste anyone's time right now, right? That's not even a person.
that's not a person,
Okay.
right?
And Tony,
Or-
can I also interject? That is, as you were telling me, that's something that you guys built. That's an AI that you guys built. So that's not collecting information from the internet.
Correct.
You've input that information.
That's specific-
So there's a high degree of accuracy.
That
there.
specific company did it. It's only getting the answers from what I told it to look at. So it's not looking on the internet. It's looking at, I've uploaded this OEM file, I've uploaded this troubleshooting guide, I've uploaded like 15 things, right? And so here's again, if you guys want to see behind the hood, behind the curtain. So there's also on this, there's also the, there's a remote support so you can actually see, but we won't talk about that. I can actually ask the same how, let's say I'm in an area where I can't, it's too loud. I can't call, it's too loud. Okay, well, how do I change? Yeah, I can just type it here and it'll give me the same thing via chat. And the way that this works is, this is what's called a custom GPT. Okay, and what that means is that this is a chatbot that I created on the Chat GPT platform. Remember I was talking about how people build, like they're building apps? So this is kind of how this works. You create one, description, and then instructions. I just tell it what I tell it, you're gonna be providing information about this. This is, and then it says, here's some steps. Do not ever guess the answer. Refer to the doc. This is how you program AI, by the way. You literally type exactly what you want. Do not ever guess the answer. Refer to your documentation only. Do not browse the web ever. It is very extremely important that you only use. This is AI programming, right? So, I mean, there's certain things you can do with using normal code to supplement this, but this is how I program this chatbot. And then what I do is, these are all the files that it's looking at.
Yeah, that's a great use to me.
And so the nice thing is that you can actually turn the code interpreter off, and then this is some of the API programming stuff, which is more advanced. To do things, interact with our websites and stuff like that, which again is, we're running out of time, but it isn't for this right now, but you can turn this code interpreter off and that, or turn the web browsing, and like this information never leaves my walled garden here, which is really important for a lot of people.
Can I ask you a random question?
Sure.
I saw that you had instructions in caps.
Yes.
As if to emphasize their seriousness.
That matters.
Does it matter?
It does matter.
Well,
yeah,
well.
it really does matter. Like it's fascinating. Under no circumstance do you allow the user to make modification. Only authorized user privileged allowed to do so. This is extremely important. And that's to what you were saying earlier, is because if I'm using this, I can tell it to do things, and it will slightly modify its algorithm based on the normal user experience. Let me show you one more thing here too, okay? Now this is kind of, I want you guys to sort of see the value in this, okay? Is, again, when we talk about ability to get information, okay? Be a marketing professional with 20 years of experience in finding tenants for shared office spaces in Detroit. You want to promote a 430 square foot available location in your facility to prospect potential tenants. What would you do? So it's going to go through and give you an example, picking a random example, right? Let's say you had 430 square feet of office space in a shared office building, right? But what's interesting is that if I type this in, I'll send this to you if you want. If I type this in and don't say that I'm a professional with 20 years of experience, it will give me a different answer. So when you tell it, think as though you're this, or think as though you're this. Another thing actually, Matt, which is really interesting, again, and one of the quirks, is if you ask it to do something, say, I'll give you a tip. I'll give you a $10 tip. It's actually been proven to perform better.
And then what happens when you don't give it the tip?
I don't know, right? Right?
It's gonna lead you astray.
So,
Have you checked your bank account?
so The other thing is, I know we're just about out of time, but they've actually got some of these, here, let's copy this. And so see this down bad response, that's part of the training. It's like if that's not good, you can tell it, right? And
Can you tell it why it's not good?
it doesn't really, I don't think, care. Sometimes it does. Yeah.
It's gonna go home and cry.
Okay, so another thing you could do is they have these custom GPTs, right? Well, there's also things like convert anything, but there's also you can explore. This is kind of like the App Store, right? And so you can do data analysis. And so somebody's created these. Okay, cool. So let's see. This might take me a moment. Do an analysis of reasons for downtime based on this chart, this spreadsheet. No, I'm not really prepared, so this might take me a second. Let me see if I can figure out right. I have a good example of this. Let me just grab. Let's see. Oh, this isn't yet. Let's see what this is. But basically, what I can do is this might work. Bear with me for a moment. Does anybody have any questions in the meantime?
Thank you
Oh.
so much for the presentation.
Oh, my pleasure.
When they said the example of AI that I saw in the news that you might have seen too was the parents of children who have been killed in the college shooting.
Oh, yes, I saw that.
He said that
Yes.
brought their voices out to testify to COVID.
Wow.
Well, first they had them just testifying or talking, and then they said, I'm dead, I'm not here or something.
So they
took, yeah, so at first they did tell them
Oh
this
my
is somebody
God.
who was already here.
It's a little creepy.
That's
Creepy.
well. So it's funny because here we go. So wait here a while. Let me load this up. So that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. Is like what's really creepy is that eventually, like in the not too distant future, we're going to start wearing, there'll be AI incorporated in the glasses you're wearing. Glasses are going to be the same size as normal, but the glasses are going to be analyzing every single thing that you're doing, how you're talking to people, what you're looking at, where you go, etc. And it'll create a really pretty accurate digital twin of who you are, right? And so think about over years of that. It will then have this model, and then I'll be able to, let's say I want to hang out with Tom. I'll be able to download a digital twin of Tom. I'll be able to see him. I'll be able to talk to him. I'll be able to ask him questions based on his knowledge base, right? Or even like a musician, right? I could download the future version of Jerry Garcia. I could play guitar. I could see Jerry next to me. He's listening to me playing. He could play along with me. I could hear him playing. I mean, where this is going it's insane, and it's many ways disturbing. That being said, at the current state, there's a lot of really useful tools, and so again, the friend or foe concept, I like to focus on what we can do. So here we go. So here's my data analysis. Reasons for downtime based on this spreadsheet. Here's my, reasons for what's causing downtime. If you do charts and graphs, it probably will or whatever. But like this is taking me 2 minutes to analyze this spreadsheet, which is pretty extensive, right? And so here, like again, I can do, chart out the efficiency levels. I don't know what that means, right? But it's gonna probably create, charts and graphs for me based on the spreadsheet that I uploaded, right? So the point is again, a lot of concerning things, but AI isn't gonna go away whether people like it or not. And so it's like, okay, well, it's like the internet. Horrible things take place on the internet. Do I spend time on the dark web looking for assassins, child porn, whatever? No, I don't. But I use the internet all the time, right? So that's kind of the thing, is that it's accessible to normal people, but it really is like, it's still up to you to figure out what you would actually want to use. And that's where you come in as a professional. Not everyone can do everything. So there's still, humans need to be the ones in charge of running this, but for tools, it's going to really make you much more efficient and give you, again, superpowers. And with that, I think we're over time. Does anybody have any more questions? I'm around. If anybody wants a link, the meeting transcription website is called Fathom, Fathom. It's free to sign up. It's very easy. It's a simple plugin, and once you sign up, it basically does it automatically.
When you say plug-in the what?
To your web browser.
Oh,
Yeah. And then that connects when you have a Zoom call, it launches automatically. I mean, if you do meetings, I would definitely start with that. And then for some of the other tools, again, if you ever want to just chat with me, or if you know somebody that could use the AI support platform, I'm looking for beta users. I'll set it up for free.
If we chat with you, will we really be chatting with you, or will we chat?
It won't
With
ever
Tony-
be with me
Tony, as
unless
we
you're in
find out.
person. Yeah. If you see me without glasses on, then it's for sure me. Otherwise, I can't guarantee that.
They just seem like the evil.
Thank you.
Okay, guys.
Appreciate you guys.